Let's start with the new topic, objects. What we would be studying? Objects. So in the JavaScript functions, now here, page, objects. Now, what do you mean by JavaScript object? Collection of properties. So here, let me write here, let me write a simple object. So here we can say object basics 01.js. Object basics 01.js. So in the JavaScript, objects are represented by two ways. So first way of representing object is a object literal notation. Const obj1 is equals to brackets. Can you see that? Const obj1 add the bracket. And there is one more way, const obj2 is equals to new and the date. These are the two types of the objects in the JavaScript. So if you see here, this thing is called as object literal notation. And here we are creating the objects by using, what you can say, by allocating some memory. This way we will discuss later on. We will discuss later on. We will discuss it later. This way, right? But this way we will talk now. This way we will talk, and this way we will discuss later. But you can create objects in these two ways. Remember that, by using new keyword and the constructor. New keyword and the constructor. And this is a object literal notation. Inside that, object will start with the curly brace, end with the curly brace. Start with the curly brace, end with the curly brace. Object will start with curly brace, end with the curly brace. And it is consisting of what you can say, some keys. Say first name, John, last name, Doe, age, number, can you see, 30, is student, is current student, false. And you can say hello, a function. Here we can write, either you can write anonymous function like this, console.log, my name is, I want to access this first name, this last name over here. So you will use one keyword called as this. You cannot do directly. If you try to do first name, can you see? If you try to do first name like this, and so this is the function and all these things. I will come back to this. It will return you something else, not expected one. And here I can say console.log. Here we can say age is age is dollar. Well, this is not related to object, right? So whatever I have written dollar, is it related to object? This thing? No, right? If there is a string, and inside the string, if you want to point some variables, we use this operation. So this thing is called as interpolation. We have discussed a little bit about this. Now see, obj1 dot a name of the property age. obj1 dot name of the property called as age, right? If you run this code, node object basics 1, can you see age is what? 30. Now how do you call this function? Remember that if you want to access anything inside this, you need to have first name of the object, variable name, dot first name, dot last name, dot age, dot each student, dot say hello. Let's try to do that. obj1 dot say hello. See, it's a function. Well, you can write a lambda also or arrow function also. Say hello, comma, we can say hello to, and say hello, and here you can write the arrow also like this, and console.log my name is this, correct? You can do something like this as well. Let's try to run this code and see, you get error. Can you see console.log first name? First name is not defined. Getting my point? You are getting what? Undefined error. So you are trying to access first name over here, but first name is what? Undefined. Let's try to comment this and let us see what happens with this arrow function. I have commented that code, and here we can say still console.log first name is not defined, which means that the property of the object, see, I am creating a sentence. If you want to access a property, so this thing is called as property. First name would be property, its value. This thing is called as key, property, right? Key, property, this would be property, or key, this would be value. So if you want to access property inside the function, you need to say that the first name, so what is happening right now? It is searching inside this scope. So first name, it is searching inside which scope? These curly braces. Do you understand this or not? So why you are getting undefined here or here? It is trying to search the first name. It is not pointing to this first name. So technically, whenever we say my name is first name, it should go here and it should print this. But what is happening? JavaScript is having scope. So what it is trying to do? It is trying to access. Now see, if I do console.log first name, const first name is ABC. Now see, error would be getting resolved. I will comment this out because it is trying to access this first name, and that's why you got an error. See now, can you see my name is ABC, which proves that JS is trying to search first name inside this bracket, and it is not pointing to this first name. You getting my point? Now if you want to point to this first name, object's first name, First you need to know, first you need to access a current object. So this will give you access to this object. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Remember that the function is also a part of this object, right? A function is also part of this object. You getting my point or not? So this function is a value of say hello one key. So this function, this much function, it is a value of this say hello one key. So there is a say hello one key. Okay, and this is its value, say hello one key, and it is its value. Now what's concern is that this function is trying to access a property of same object, right? And if you comment this out and if you try to run this, it will say that, boss, I don't know what is the first name. It is undefined, because first name it will try to find out inside this bracket, these two brackets, in the scope of the function. So we created one field ABC. Now here there is one keyword in the JavaScript called as this, and this will point to this object, whole object, obj kind of. You do obj dot age. So this will point to what? Whom? Let's try to, for less confusion, I will comment this out and let us try to point out, let's try to print what is inside this console.log this. And can you see? So this is the value of this. Hello?
Yes, sir.
What it is printing? It is printing value of what? Whole object it is printing, in short. So if it is a whole object, if this is pointing to whole object, you can do obj dot first name. So this is kind of doing obj dot first name, right? So let's complete this thing. My name is dollar this dot first name. My name is dollar this dot first name. Let's try to run it now. Can you see my name is John? And what would be output of this? What would be output of this console.log? ABC, because this will point to the whole object. So when you say this dot first name, it is very similar of doing obj dot age. Obj will point to this object, and inside that we are finding what? Age. Similarly, this will point to whole object, and inside that you need first name. Remember that this first name and this first name, this first name and this first name, just name is same. Otherwise, these two are the different things actually. Correct?
Yes.
These two are technically different things. But this dot first name and this first name are same. They are referring to the same. This const and this are referring to the same. So here also you can add. So before that, first let's confirm what it is printing inside this multi-line arrow function, and console.log this. So here also I will keep it console.log this, and let's comment this out and uncomment this. Hello2 is an arrow function. See here. So that this is pointing to, in the arrow, if you see, it is pointing to something else. So let's uncomment this. So I told you there is a basic difference.
Yes.
I told you at the time of arrow function, both the things are same, but there is a one difference, and this is the difference, right? And this is the difference. What is the difference here? Just a minute. Now, so this will print what? This is a regular function. It is printing a wrapping object. What it is printing? A wrapping object. While this is not a regular function, this is an arrow. This is an arrow. So whenever so here if you see, here, so this is very important to know. Just a minute, just give me a minute. Just a minute. Yeah. So we are understanding a behavior of this. We are understanding what? Behavior of this. I'm thinking to do it in a separate video. Okay, no problem. So here we have understood what? Here we have understood how to access the properties of outer object inside the function. And we have realized that there is one concern with this. So this inside a traditional function works differently, and this inside the arrow function works differently.
Yes.
Getting my point? And this is the only difference between the function and the arrow function. At the time of learning arrow functions, I have told you this thing. There is only one difference, right? This is that difference. The working of this inside arrow and working of this inside, what you can say, traditional function is different. Okay. So we have seen how do you access properties of the object by means of this, and key can be anything and value can be function also. This point we are understanding. Key can be anything and its value can be also anything. It can be boolean, it can be number, it can be string, it can be anything. But key can be anything and value can be a function. But whenever you write a function, a next question arises. what if I want to access this first name inside this function? So we tried something like this. We tried something like this, and here we got undefined. So we got to know that thing. This first name and this first name has nothing to do with each other. Just names are same. Correct? Just what? Names are same. Just names are same. So we got to identify that it's a JavaScript, and JavaScript says that, scoping would be comes into the picture. Scoping comes into the picture. Scoping comes into the picture, and that's why this first name JS finds out inside this local scope. Correct? Now say hello to. This is printing some empty object kind of stuff. So this is inside a traditional function, and this is inside what? Your lambda or arrow function. Remember that why I am saying again and again lambda instead of arrow. So why I am saying again and again lambda? Remember that this term, a arrow function, a term, is derived from the mathematical concept of lambda, right? So this thing in the maths is called as lambda functions, and these programming languages have taken that concept into it, right? So you can call it as lambda also, but more specific to the JavaScript, it is what? Arrow function. That's why mistakenly I am saying again and again lambda. Please note it.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go here. Let's go here. Okay. Now my name is ABC, this object and this empty object. So let's try to do this thing, and let's try to do this dot first name. Can you see my name is undefined? See, this is not working over here.
Yes.
What's the reason?
Because of arrow function.
Yeah, it's happening because of arrow function, and arrow function works differently. So let's understand what's happening first over here. Let's understand what's happening over here, why this is behaving differently, right? Why this is behaving differently. So answer is in the working of this. So whenever, remember that whenever there is a regular function, so value of this is depends. See, I'm saying whenever you are talking about the regular function, the value of this is depending upon how function is called. The value of this is depending upon how function is called. In this case, you have called hello1, using obj1. So and that's why this would be replaced by obj1, right? If it is a traditional function, then value of this is depending on how function is called. You have called the function by means of obj1, right? And that's why value of this will be occupied by this object, calling object. So calling object becomes this. Do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
This refers to the object who have called the function. But in the arrow function, this is not the scope. This is not the case. Arrow function has nothing to do with how do you have called. Arrow function in the scope, the this inside arrow function will always point to the outer global scope, right? To what? Outer global scope. And presently in the global scope, this whole now this is a node.js concept. The whole file, right? The whole file is in the global scope. Let's try to do something like this. Global dot obj2 is equals to this obj2. Global dot obj2 is equals to obj2, and let's try to run it. Just a minute. Just a minute.
Yes.
Just a minute. So presently I cannot use more concepts. Okay. Now this is a typically Node.js concept. Just a minute. I need to add variable to the global scope. Just a minute.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. So like, just a minute. Const obj1 is equals to this, and here obj1 colon obj. I think still you will get undefined. Actually, what we need to do, if you do same thing, you need to export this outside, and then you need to call actually these two things. Okay, fine. I will explain this to you a little bit later on. Okay. But see, this or this is trying to access a outer scope, higher scope, and not this scope. Remember that when you say this over here in the say hello to, it will try to add, so what's happening over here? So whenever it's a traditional function, whenever you can see this is a traditional function, and you're calling on the traditional function, so what's happening here? The object which calls the function, this object which calls the function, right? So this object becomes this. Hello?
Yes.
You understood this or not?
Yes.
But whenever there is a arrow function, arrow functions works differently.
Yes.
They capture the value of this from their surrounding lexical context. In this case, the enclosing context is a global scope, because say hello to is defined. See, say hello to is defined within the global scope outside of any object or function. Outside of any object or function. Say hello to outside of any object or function. And that's why what you can say, it is printing the outer scope. Now let's do one more thing. Now you will get the answer. So inside the hello one, I am calling hello to this dot hello to this dot hello to. Okay, I'm commenting this out. My name is, so here we can say console.log hello one, and here we can say console.log hello 2. Now see, inside a hello 1, I have called what? Hello 2. Hello? Now let's try to do it again. Now still if you see, this is printing as empty. So the meaning of this and how to add the variable to the global scope, that I will tell you. Okay, but this behaves differently. This behaves differently in these two cases. That's what I wanted to tell you, right? So first, what we have seen, so we have invested time in working on this today, right? So tomorrow I am going to explain few more things about object,
Yes.
about accessing the object. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So we will stop here today, and tomorrow we'll meet again on the objects.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm disconnecting.
Yes.